at John M. Ladd. Today in horrible but unsurprising quotes, in Obama's memoir, he recalls he and Biden trying to explain the policy merits of a bill to Mitch McConnell, who responds, "You must be under the mistaken impression that I care."
I remember that. That's so fucking good. Oh, God, McConnell. What a fucking baller.
What a fucking prick.
No, I mean, that's so good. Under the impression I care. You would have thought after the first couple of years of dealing with McConnell, you would have realized, he's not in the business of passing laws.
You would have thought by the time he was leading the opposition in the Senate, the moment you become president, that this man does not stand for any sort of cooperation or compromise.
Remember that time they negotiated down Obamacare in the hopes of getting Republican compromise, and they got 0 fucking Republicans to vote for it in the Senate? That didn't fucking clue you that McConnell doesn't give a fuck?
There was another good tweet which kind of summarizes that, but modern, in case people can't remember. Obamacare, which was this health insurance initiative.
Something or other.
Where it was like, Democrats, yeah, so how about $2,000 checks? Republicans, no. Democrats, okay, I see what you're saying. $1,400, spirit of compromise, am I right? Republicans, absolutely not. Democrats, wow, we value you and your morals.
Every motherfucker that's like, we need to compromise, we need to figure out this bipartisan shit. 0 Republicans just voted for the stimulus. Yeah. I'm at this point, it's like, that's just what the Republicans do, and we should know that. So any person who thinks it would be different for any reason, I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah,
I don't know what to.
Here's how Democrats win and maintain a majority. You become populist. You become left-wing populist.
But the thing.
You appeal to the
Democrats
people.
don't want to
win.
Win.
Voted.
Democrats
and then when
don't want to win.
I know.
Because then if they won, they would have to do things. And if you did things, fucking all the money you get from fucking Google and Amazon, they wouldn't fucking like that too much.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is so many people will be voting for your left-wing populist positions.
No, but it's not. That's just, there's no power base for any left-wing, so the only thing there is money. And money doesn't want populist ideas. Anyway, welcome to the Two Roommates for the Podcast, Episode 3. We did it. Episode 3, baby.
Episode 3, lucky number, baby.
Episode 3. Almost 3/4 of a month. 3/4 of something.
Almost exactly 3/4 of a month.
Yeah, but yeah, like McConnell has an MO. It's you do nothing. Like in a 2-party system, you stick with what you have or go to the opposite. So that means if you're not the party in power, you have absolutely no incentive to do anything because you're not the party in power. If something good happens, that looks good for the party in power. If something bad happens, that's good for the party not in power. There is a binary choice, and if you don't, like, McConnell fucking invented it. Like, I've been told by sources that the government didn't always operate like this, but ever since about 2009, it has. So that might as well mean it's always been like that.
Yeah, that's about when the one-party system unified by some event that took place in the year 2001.
Dude, imagine.
Kind of split into 2 parties that are just wings of one party.
Dude, imagine having a supermajority and not getting a public option for healthcare. Incredible. That was a bungle.
We have to appeal to the worst people on Earth. If we don't appeal to the worst people on Earth, the scum of the scum, who represent, people, in the Senate or in the House, then how are we going to, stand up for people?
Speaking of the worst people on Earth, I have an opinion column from the Washington Post. Boom, segue. I fucking okay. So I like it. Or I like it when we read off things and have the other person react to it. And I thought to myself, like, oh, I know, the Washington Post, they'll have some good opinion articles. And no fucking joke, it took me a minute to get to this gem. And Kirk was looking at it. I told him no.
No, you read it off.
I read off the title. The title, Opinion. Will Biden follow the science or the teachers union? You fucking love to see it, folks. Yes, let's shit on the teachers unions. Truly, they are doing the most harm to society.
I know.
Opinion by Mark A. Thiessen or whatever the fuck.
I have no clue who this guy is.
His face is, oh god. Here, I'm gonna show Kirk a picture of the face.
What? Oh, the American Enterprise Institute. Oh, a former speechwriter for George W. Bush.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god.
So
what a sparkling record.
So we'll start off. We're just a few weeks into the Joe Biden presidency, and already the broken promises are piling up. One of Biden's promises that he would listen to the scientists and heed their advice and not silence them. But when his hand-picked director of the Center for Disease Control said last week, schools can safely open, and vaccination of teachers is not a prerequisite for the safe reopening of schools, the Biden White House slapped her down, with a press secretary insisting that she was speaking in her personal capacity and not as a person of the White House.
Well,
I did a little digging, and by digging I clicked on the thing he referenced, and I love this fucking sentence is like evidence for why you can just reopen schools in a pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fine. It's just there is increasing data to suggest that schools can safely reopening, and that safe reopening does not suggest that teachers need to be vaccinated. It's suggested, Kirk. We have new suggestions. That means that teachers can go get COVID. Kirk, did you see the suggestions? Never mind that and this is just at a glance, the 7-day average in America is 111,000 cases a day. Just at a glance.
And the last time I had an accurate-ish comparison was what, like 9/11 occurring every day?
It's not even a little bit. It's imagine we had the Twin Towers in every city of America.
But we don't have the twin parties of capital coming together to address this.
The reason why teachers need to go back to the teachers and students, mind you, we need to throw the children into the meat grinder, into the cesspool of schools, because it suggests
when schools reopen, everything can reopen. Businesses, restaurants, go out, catch COVID, do it. It's fun. It's like Pokemon.
Remember that one time?
There's more than one strain now. Catch them all.
Yeah, remember when? So in Illinois, it was. I say this is time, but we relaxed. We relaxed the constraints. Businesses opened up, and then what do you know? The second spike happened, and we got more cases than ever. And then we had to roll it back.
Yeah.
And then we tried it again, and then we had to roll it back. But no, this time.
Yeah.
The third or fourth time we roll back the restrictions, then
it's
then
not
it'll be
just
fine.
Illinois. It's every single state
Right.
has tried to roll back restrictions, and it's the same fucking story. So we're looking at at least 100 proven instances of you can't fucking do this.
Kirk, there is increasing data to suggest. It's suggested.
Increasing data from which sources? And that's the thing. They're never going to reference what study because it's weasel wording. It's just there's increasing data. The data is my opinion.
There's this gem of a paragraph. Biden says he wants kids to return to school, but instead of calling out his teacher union allies, which I love the idea that Joe Biden is now this fucking union working class hero, when he's from Delaware. Like, he's from fucking Delaware.
He's from the
tax
state that
haven.
only exists because there's one building with like over 1,000 different businesses using it.
It's so weird how many like fucking corporations have their headquarters in Delaware. Don't worry, it's the union capital of the U.S. He is giving them pretext for holding up by insisting that Congress must pass some shit, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Moreover, most of the nation's Catholic schools have safely, I'm going to put that in scare quotes, open for in-person learning. Many other private schools have opened as well. But thanks to the unions, millions of children who arguably need it the most, those with the least advantages, aren't in school. I fucking love that. Yeah, because the Catholic and the private schools don't have unions, which means the teachers don't have any fucking rights. Yeah, they're back in school. I wonder why the fuck that is. Because if they said no, they'd get fired.
Also, I love that these people are always like, oh, the kids that need it the most, when they've actively done everything in their power to ruin public education for the kids that need it the most.
Or the giving money to the private schools, charter schools, Catholic schools, away from public funds, the same motherfuckers. So just trying to fucking... it's about the children, or contesting, addition, like in the stimulus, giving additional funds to, parents with children. That's too much spending. You can't have that. $2,000 checks. Well, actually, it's $1,400 checks. Actually, we're going to keep negotiating it down. They don't give a fuck about the kids, especially, or really anyone. It's a nice, convenient thing to say. They want them to go back to school because that's good for the economy. Also in scare quotes, because that means parents, you don't have the excuse. Also in scare quotes, they got to take care of your kids. No, you shove them back into the COVID nest so you can work your fucking $14 an hour job somewhere.
So in a situation like this, it's very hard for me to not go full-blown conspiracy theory, which is you just have a bunch of the most vile people who are Nazis at the core, who are like, how do we kill off wide swaths of Hispanics and African Americans and these other populations that we don't like living in traditionally underserviced communities. I know during a global pandemic, we will mandate that they go back to the crowded schools that we've underfunded for decades, because they are going to catch COVID. They're going to give it to their parents and their grandparents and their extended families.
In the hallway of your high school was like for me. It was a sea of people, and there's like the thing is like you can like make like maybe some policy to get around that, but at the end of the day, like I went to a high school that was built in the 50s. It had 1,800 kids all crammed together because there's no way we're gonna like expansion kind of started when I was there, but it's a tiny school with a lot of kids because there's no money. Yeah, you can't get around that. That's an immutable fact.
My high school is built around the idea of there are 4 main hallways and they intersect, which means that you have 4 corners where everyone is congregating. The hallways are packed, but if you have a class in A hall and you need to get to C hall, you go through 2 of those intersections every single interclass period.
It's just, there's no fucking way you can have that many people in that dense of an area and possibly make it safe.
So that's my new pet theory, is these people are fascists and they want to actively kill off traditionally underserviced minority communities in the United States. This is in my head now. I can't...
that's what they've been doing, which is why you keep giving money to private schools so rich white kids can go there, while the rest of the poor people of color, they gotta go to school in the fucking dilapidating buildings. You'll like this next one too. The refusal of unions to teach is appalling. They're still teaching. They're just doing it safely, you motherfucker. Imagine if millions of grocery clerks who showed up for work over the last year said they couldn't conduct in-person sales until they had been vaccinated. America would have starved.
No, that sounds fucking awesome. I wish we had done that when I worked at a grocery store.
I was just about to say, fun fact, Kirk,
here's the thing. There are safe ways to conduct shopping. But at the time, I was working retail in a grocery store at the very start of COVID, and it was the most goddamn frustrating thing to have people hail me as an essential worker to be continued to be treated like disposable refuse.
So Kirk, but you can make it safe. So if somebody came into the store without a mask, couldn't you tell them to put a mask on, or like if they didn't, like what would happen?
Oh yeah, well I worked in Iowa, which famously I don't even believe currently has a mask mandate. I worked in Iowa, and the very fun thing about Iowa is we couldn't require people to wear masks, even when, after many months had passed, and this was like a month or two before I left for another job, then they started handing out masks in the entryways to anyone that came in. But if someone declined to take a mask, we legally had, no real basis to tell them they couldn't enter the store. Our fucking store management and corporate was so worried that someone would raise a stink about it that they didn't require it for the longest time. And I can't even imagine how many people at my store actually got COVID. Even asymptomatic COVID, because of just all of this bullshit.
But also, the essential work, yes. Right, that's why same people like this too would fucking clutch their pearls or clutch whatever the fuck when the $15 minimum wage is brought up. They're the essential workers. America would have starved. You don't deserve $15 an hour. It's all in the same fucking breath.
You deserve to starve because working 37 hours a week, just under what is federally classified as full-time.
Right.
So you're working 37 hours a week. You've asked your management 5 times in the past 3 years for a full-time position, but they always tell you there's no full-time positions available. Because you're not a full-time worker, you don't have health insurance. You don't have any, sick days or vacation days. Technically, you're part-time, but if you say, hey, I'm a part-time worker, so legally I can take as many days off as I need or want, so long as I give you due notice, they can still fire you because they're fucking corporations in 2020. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And it's awful. It is fucking awful.
But Kirk, you're essential and you're a hero. Doesn't that make you feel good? I almost forgot about this, so sorry. If they did not conduct in-person sales, America would have starved. They came to work because their jobs were essential. They came to work because they would have got fucking fired instantly.
Yes. So I knew some people who took COVID off because, they had diabetes and that put them at risk if they caught COVID of, having severe life-threatening consequences. And they were gone for so long, I thought they were fired. And then when they finally came back, it was not I determined it was actually, safe enough to come back. It was, I did not have enough money to keep paying rent while I was fearing for my life.
Which is always, but they came because they had a sense of duty. But apparently, teacher unions don't believe teachers are essential. Millions of Americans' parents would say otherwise. Now Biden has to choose. The science says it's safe to reopen schools, but his union allies say no. Will he follow the science or follow the union?
So this fact about teachers' unions is teachers' unions formed, it existed, continue to exist, and will continue to exist because teachers know they are essential. What do you do when you know something is essential? You advocate for better allocation of resources towards that essential purpose. That's what teachers' unions are doing. They're saying teachers need to be paid more so we don't lose teachers to other industries. Schools need to receive more funding so that, our children can receive an education. Or that
teachers don't have to pay for fucking everything in their goddamn classroom.
So teachers' unions exist because the teachers know they are absolutely essential. And for this schmuck to be like, well, actually, teachers don't think they're essential. You don't think they're essential.
Right. And this motherfucker, it's, the year of our Lord, 2021, and, hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is meaningless. It's everywhere. It doesn't matter. But will he follow the science when apparently this guy, he's proud of the fact he was a speechwriter for George W., famously W, an advocate for science, a believer in climate change, famous for his belief in science. But yeah, don't know. These are fucking at best crocodile tears, at worst a Nazi conspiracy to kill black people. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. So fucking Washington Post. That took me a minute to find that fucking gem. A minute.
It's my conspiracy theory now. This is in my head. And I am 2 weeks away from pointing to the 3+ decades of underfunding of public infrastructure and saying, see, they planned this. They planned this. They wanted to release COVID.
That is part of the plan. Is that's the, or that's McConnell's plan. You cut taxes, you reduce revenue, but you still say Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid will survive, and then they're in danger, and then you say, oh, it's budget, it's government overreach. We need to cut that too, or public schools. It's a good thing. Well, if we keep cutting funding. Oh, wait, the public schools aren't working anymore. Now we need more and more private schools. I'm not going to read this article. I'm just going to throw out the title. With states doing better than expected, time to rethink Biden's $350 billion rescue. What do you mean states doing better? Just the average person, just yourself.
States
and the people around you.
States doing better.
States aren't doing
is a code phrase for Trump is no longer president, so we don't have to hold Biden to any of his campaign promises.
Yeah, or this might be a Republican going at it saying, we don't need to spend because we went to Yale. That's not good.
Yeah. so if you listened to the first 2 episodes and you were like, okay, we talk about politics every now and again. There's a vague allusion to this is communist propaganda, but I'm sure it's fine. And now you're listening to the 3rd episode, and we are bashing on Joe Biden relentlessly. This has always been communist propaganda.
Oh my God,
This will continue to be.
Shit, you're
we
right.
We may hammer this out at some point, but...
Damn it. No, you're right. He's not a conservative. He's a milquetoast liberal. And a milquetoast liberal thinks, we shouldn't... So that's what I was saying. Is think to your, day-to-day, your person-to-person. Is their lives... Are they doing okay? Is, everything fucking hunky-dory? No. But so, to fucking think that people shouldn't be getting this relief, the fucking bare minimum that it is. The $1,400, that's already a scam because they were saying the entire time, $2,000.
Yeah.
But actually it's $1,400 plus $600. See, you just don't understand politics.
Yeah. No, you don't understand math.
We said $2,000.
$2,000 checks would be mailed out the moment you won. Yes, we did, but that actually refers to the $600
that Republicans passed,
already mailed.
And that Republicans passed, not Democrats. Republicans
and the
passed
$1,400 that we will pass when we actually get this hammered out. No, you said $2,000 checks. That means one check here for $2,000 being mailed out. When did you promise them? As soon as you won.
Kirk, as the person with a math degree here, you just don't understand mathematics or politics. It's 600 plus 1,400. And that's the end. And that's the end of it. It's you add it up. Dude, fuck them. God damn it. But yeah, so that's WAPO. That was...
The Washington Post is a bastion of...
Oh yeah, that's also good, is when the fucking richest egomaniacal maniac to ever fucking grace this earth, Jeff Bezos, can just own one of the biggest media outlets in America.
Yeah, but he takes such a light hand, except for when the Washington Post has to write anything about Amazon. Then suddenly it's good.
Yeah, I know, especially like, with the... Amazon union, or the Amazon workers in Alabama filing to unionize. I'm sure there would be no conflict of interest between the Washington Post covering the unionization of Amazon. I'm sure there's no fucking reason why that wouldn't, or specifically, I mean, they wouldn't do something outright. They wouldn't say it's a bad thing. What they would do is just not cover it. They would just ignore its existence. Or not ever report on any sort of union activities.
Or if they did, they would just be like, yeah, unions can be a tool for good, but
also,
think about all of the workers that don't want to be a part of the union that have to pay union dues.
Yeah, it's really erasure of those who aren't even in unions right now.
It's
and the fact that we're not talking about them is really problematic.
You know, back in my day, scab erasure referred to when you took his scab out, broke his kneecaps, poured him some concrete shoes, and then dumped him in the
Jesus,
in the
that
Mississippi.
Was I just would have dumped him in the Mississippi. You do all that stuff. I mean, you could.
Well, you want him to suffer before he dies.
Right. Oh, I was reading. I've told this story to Kirk before, but I was reading a book which is quite different because I'm illiterate. But in that book, it was about this baseball league in 1890, and they were trying to get ballparks built. And it was in 1890, and Chicago basically had a massive carpenters strike. So the carpenters were striking, and they weren't building the stadium. But the mason workers had a different union, and they already had a negotiation to where if the carpenters are striking, the mason workers can still work. But the police were called in on the carpenters, and because of that arbitration between the mason workers and the carpenters, the mason workers walked out, which I fucking love. It's like the police show up, so then the mason workers, because of arbitration, walk out. That's so good. God, the past was so much worse, and yet so much cooler. Why was it so much cooler?
Speaking of things in the past which were so much cooler, I remembered today as I was combing through my various screenshots to find funny things to talk about on the podcast. I came across a snapshot of a Wikipedia page for 34th governor of Indiana, Paul Voorhees McNutt.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think the last
Jason
name
Voorhees?
McNutt, Voorhees, not Voorhees.
He killed people I can believe the governor of Indiana killed a bunch of teens.
Yeah, he
at
probably
a camp.
did. But okay, so Paul Voorhees McNutt, 34th governor. He was active about the same time as everyone's favorite liberal, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who saved America from the socialist scourge by doing the absolute minimum required to keep workers from revolting.
It was getting real close.
So McNutt became chairman of Indiana State's Democratic Party and led the Indiana delegation to the Democratic National Convention in 1932. Up until the very last ballot, he and the delegation refused to support the nomination of Franklin Delano Roosevelt for president. McNutt was dismissive and rude to Roosevelt when he came to personally ask for their support. Roosevelt never forgot the slight, and from then on in private, he referred to McNutt as that platinum blonde SOB from Indiana.
So good. But in FDR's defense, there was the business plot.
Yes, which
I'm just I'm reading the top of that Wikipedia article for those who don't know about the business plot. In 1933, after FDR got elected, basically a bunch of business leaders thought the fucking Bolshevik Revolution was going to come with FDR, and they were going to fucking overthrow the United States government to stop it.
They approached a long time and the most decorated Marine general, Smedley Butler, to lead.
Kirk's not even looking at the Wikipedia article
to lead this fascist coup. And Smedley Butler had worked his way up to general from private, and he heard about this, and he's like, I was raised by working class parents. So what he did is he then went public with the information and said, yeah, a bunch of businessmen like Henry Ford and whoever runs Dow Jones at the time approached me and asked me to lead this fascist overthrow of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And I'm not doing that because I'm not a fascist. And then immediately all of these businessmen go, what?
Well, we weren't going to do that. Oh,
we weren't going to do that. Franklin, we will oppose you, but we acquiesce.
Usual with the New York Times being a fucking liberal rag it is, editorial characterizing it as a gigantic hoax. Yeah, when the fucking business leaders went, oh no, we were kidding, we weren't gonna make a fascist takeover of America. Don't worry, the Times was there to back them up. So, I mean...
I'm sure whoever owned the Times at that time...
Who's Jeff Bezos? That wasn't even funny. So I wonder if... How did you know Smedley Butler?
Smedley Butler is the only good general in American history.
That's true. Patton made a great movie, though. It won Best
Picture.
Patton
had a good movie.
General Patton did some great acting in that film.
If only Patton was as cool as he was in alternate U.S. timeline Reds, then we could actually like Patton. But as he is a very problematic person.
But
problematic.
Once again, great film though. Good actor.
I
don't know what you want out of him.
Rommel, you magnificent bastard. I read your book.
Fucking 3 hours long though. 3 hours long.
We haven't finished it. We watched 2 hours. We haven't finished it.
I've seen Patton so many fucking times.
I've seen it twice. I still wanted to finish it.
Yeah, but we were watching it because Aaron didn't finish it. Or didn't see it or whatever. I'm not watching Patton again.
When has Aaron ever watched a movie and remembered any of the plot?
Famously, the man gets blackout drunk a lot. Love you, Aaron.
I love you, Aaron. I didn't mean that as a slight.
I'm sure he'll be fine with it.
I mean, he won't listen to this.
Speaking of fascist takeovers and fascism in America, the police. Something that's interesting. So me and Kirk both really like I don't want to say detective shows, but the detective aesthetic. Like a person in a trench coat walking around solving a mystery.
Yeah, so and this comes from think about Sherlock Holmes. You know, it's a very
Columbo's way cooler than Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes is the spiritual predecessor to any modern cop show.
That is true.
And then Columbo is so much in the vein of that, where you see the crime happen, and then you watch someone go through and point out things that you saw happen, and you go, if I was in his position, I would not have noticed, say, that water around the pool and thought to taste it to determine it was fresh water, not pool water. But I can totally see how an inquisitive person like Sherlock Holmes or Columbo does that.
So the context of that episode being somebody was murdered in a pool. but there was like water around the pool in odd places that there wouldn't have been if someone was just diving. So he like tasted the water like around the pool and then tasted the pool water and was like, the one on the steps didn't have any chlorine, but the other one does. That's weird. And it's just, we're just sitting there like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and the great thing is he asks the coroner about it, and the coroner goes, well, he was swimming, so it's probably just water from when he was swimming. And Columbo still goes, but shouldn't we, like, look at that anyway? Because the hallmark of, like, a good detective is you don't have any assumptions whatsoever. Because that thing that you dismiss may be, like, actual evidence leading you in a direction.
Right. Like, not, like, you can't be a cop in our universe because we live in just the worst universe because, like, the institutions, the power structures, the relationships between the cops and the community. But in some sort of different... in some ways...
If it's a communal... universe
if it's
in
a
which
communal
racism doesn't exist.
Or there's like the power structure. It's a communal policing. The cops aren't like basically just the executioner and they get called for everything. It's like they're just a small segment of like a community's reaction to events. Like they, like guidance counselors, psychologists. Like they're part of a broader scope. So in that sort of universe, that would be fun. But that is so fucking far away.
Yeah. A very short list of like the good cop like figures I can think of off the top of my head: Sherlock Holmes, Columbo, Worf.
Lieutenant Worf is a cop.
Well, he is security officer. Okay. He essentially has the run of the ship.
Are you kidding me? Worf would be a terrible cop. He's such a fascist. Like Worf being a cop is only okay because it's in the Star Trek universe. If Worf was a cop in our universe, he would. Well, actually, I wouldn't. Well, I guess
there is no honor in shooting an unarmed opponent.
Oh my god, boy, that's the bar. At least he hit it. Fucking Jesus. Okay, at least he wouldn't kill somebody unarmed. Yeah. Wow. Fuck.
Lieutenant Double Yefreeder, Harry Dubois, and Kim Kitsuragi.
Yeah, so that and those last two are from
very short list.
Are from a video game we both like called Disco Elysium. If you've never played that, play it. It's wonderful.
I need to finish it.
And that kind of universe, the detective system makes sense because they don't have the same power. They can't just execute people, and they also kind of come from in this universe. It's not on Earth. It's its own separate world. And the cops or the police force or whatever you want to call it kind of derived from like the revolutionary militia that was failed like 100 years ago. And so their power isn't actually coming from like the corporations of the state like it does us. It was coming from that like bygone era from where it was more like a third institution, or like, you had the people, the vanguard, the folks you're vanguarding against. So it's kind of like that, and that's sweet as shit.
Yeah, and here's another thing maybe we should consider for America's police. In Disco Elysium...
Stop having them if they considered fucking off.
In Disco Elysium, due to the revolution that takes place on Revachol. Sorry, I'm not a fascist. Revachol.
Jesus. You fucking talking about Nazis, you're really tipping your hand there.
In the aftermath of the revolution, the collection of capitalist powers that destroy the communists say, okay, to prevent communists from like actually being able to fight against us in the future, no one can have like multi-capacity magazine guns. So the police officers have like single-shot pistols, which in the thing help, like, yeah, it's because you don't want a bunch of people suddenly having access to like semi-automatic rifles, but it also, one of the things that your character can say is, oh, well, I suppose that means you can't just like keep shooting. It makes you think about when you shoot and who you shoot and why.
Right, because like at one point you approach like a bunch of dock workers, and a normal like a pair of cops in today, they could just mow them the fuck down without like thinking about it. But these cops, right, they have to shoot and then reload, which meant those dock workers would beat the ever loving fuck out of them. So there's the power imbalance isn't quite there because of that. And also in that universe too, their power's not coming from the government. Their government was destroyed by basically the coalition, quote unquote, which is just other nations and other corporations stopping the communists, because it's like you can't have a nation of communists. You can't have that. So after they destroyed the revolution, from that, I think it's like the Revachol
Citizens Militia.
Yeah, the Revachol Citizens Militia came up, and so the other countries invading weren't exactly happy about that, but they also wanted some form of stability. So it's kind of a compromise. So they
essentially said, here are your duties and responsibilities. And they were like, yeah, sure. So like, the police here have, like, almost no real authority. They can't arrest people. They just write a slip saying, show up to the station in like 2 weeks' time. Right.
Or else, and then if you don't do that, then there's like another series of consequences. But basically, they just can't execute people like they can in America. Which, that's pretty cool. Imagine that. Imagine that. But yeah, so that's something I've always found fascinating, is we both really enjoyed the detective aesthetic despite hating the current police in every fucking form it exists in. But because there is just something about, like, in that sort of ideal universe, like being a detective, like solving mysteries, poking and prodding, tying up every loose end, kind of like, just going around and thinking outside the box. Like that's a very interesting career path if that was available.
I guess we'll just have to settle for setting mysteries in D&D.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of D&D, Aaron...
He doesn't listen to this. We haven't told him about it.
Aaron...
Stop talking about Aaron. Christ.
We haven't played D&D in a long time.
Kirk, this is fucking pathetic. Jesus fucking Christ. I know you're trans, but be a fucking man. Goddamn. I know. No, so that's another thing. We like to play tabletop games, which, add that to the fucking list of reasons why you should beat us up at any given moment.
We're nerds.
We are huge nerds. Tabletop games are good. There was one time we were playing, and it was in college, and it was on like a Saturday, and we played for like 13 fucking hours. Like we stole, it was like in one of the dorm rooms. We occupied basically one of like the lounge areas, and from like, God, what was it? It was like from 3 p.m. to like 4 a.m.
Wasn't that
we were doing
like when we were wrapping up the entire?
No, that was sophomore year. I'm talking about the Battle of Attenborough.
I didn't think it was 13 hours.
Oh, it was fucking long.
Oh.
We were there a while. Yeah, so it was the typical thing where, like, you find a village, it's being invaded, you gotta fortify it, help out the townspeople. Yeah. That was 13 hours. That was wild.
You want to know what's great when you're facing a bunch of minions with 1 HP? The fucking, barbed, the fucking spell you cast, which is just, like, Barbed Ivy, which slows the speed by half. And also, if you, end your turn there, you take 1d4 damage.
Right, so people are getting mowed down.
Yeah. It's like a whole squad of orcs moves into it, end their turn, and then are just, mulched.
It's pretty sweet. So, you watch the big game? Super Bowl.
No, I did see a very funny tweet, and it's what pains me as an author and comedian is knowing that I will never be as funny as this picture. And it was a picture of the Chiefs' end zone, and painted on the white border around the field, it says, "End racism." Chiefs. It is a little...
Well, you don't like the chop?
It's not like the former name of the Washington football team.
Well, you talking about the Chiefs aren't racist. You don't like their chop? Brent, here's where you insert the Chiefs music. Oh, doo-doo, doo-doo. It's not offensive. Totally not offensive to all the people that we fucking stole their land. That's I'm sure they're fine with it. Not that they're alive to say anything about it. Well, some of them are. The ones that we've relocated.
Also, I know you were rooting for the other team, the Buccaneers, but Tom Brady's politics are bad.
Oh, yeah, but I fucking love Tom. I don't love him because of his politics. I love him because he's fucking great at football. God, he's so fucking good. Tom, have sex with my wife. Cock me, Tom. Cock me.
It's like...
Dude, imagine being that good at anything as he is at football.
Like a certain former president is at just posting.
He same way Trump is a good poster. That's why they must Trump's the best poster and Tom's the best football player. That's why they get along so well. No, Mini Brent explains shit. So I've been trying to get more into football analytics. I really have gotten... I'm already really familiar with sabermetrics, which is baseball analytics. Everyone is already asleep now. You can stay asleep for the next 5 minutes.
Now that the feds are asleep, we can talk about our plot to overthrow the United States government,
or go firebomb insert local community police station. Minecraft parody redacted.
Parody redacted in a video game.
It's
Roblox.
This was made in Roblox. You can't arrest us, Roblox. No, but basically, one of the reasons why the Chiefs lost is that they had an explosive offense, but not an efficient offense. And I didn't know what that meant. But basically, they're good at bombing it downfield, but getting first downs, converting things, they're not actually good at. And so the Buccaneers knew that, so they just kept playing people all the way fucking back. Like, they'd have guys like 15 yards, 20 yards back, which is playing very deep. But they basically did that all game because they knew the Chiefs couldn't convert the short shit, and all they're good at is bombing it downfield. And before they lost the Super Bowl, they were like 26-1 in their previous 27 games. It was something ridiculous like that. Basically, they never lost until they did. Sports is crazy.
So what I wrote down per your request, when you held a gun to my head. And
it's a made fucking content for the podcast that you don't even edit. You just participate in. You do the bare minimum. Yes, Kirk, please continue.
So I'm not going to talk about all of these, but I'm going to let you know some of the ideas that at least you list for consideration.
You just the idea.
No, I just want to read some stuff off and see what resonates here. And if nothing resonates with you, I'll go off on a tangent.
Okay.
The rationalization of time and its effects on humanity.
What the fuck? That's not a what? Okay.
No, it's bleak because so way back during the start of the Industrial Revolution, we started rationalizing everything. One of those things was time, because when you know how long an hour is and you can measure that, and then everyone knows how long an hour is, you start having efficient factories, and then you start forcing people to conform to this rational idea of time. So they're at work at 5 a.m., and they go home at 8 p.m., and they get exactly 1 hour for lunch in the middle of the day. People used to be able to nap during the day. You'd get done doing some gardening in the morning, and you'd take an hour, 2 hour nap before you kept doing field work. And you know what? We don't do that anymore because you are at work for 8 hours. You may have an hour unpaid for lunch. You may have 30 minutes paid lunch. Who knows? But that's the thing, is the rationalization of time.
I suppose. Okay, now that you explained it, I don't hate it as much as you first said.
Okay, yeah, and it's fucking bleak because
It is fucking bleak.
we force people into 3 shifts, for second,
or
third.
you get reamed out by your manager because you took an extra long second to go stare into space to question.
Yeah, God
your
forbid
decision.
God forbid I hate my job, and
Now I have
to take 2 minutes every now and again to keep from yelling at people. Yeah, God forbid. I got a harmonica.
How do you go from that to harmonica?
I got a digital picture frame for Christmas.
Why are we leaving harmonica? I love a harmonica.
Well,
I wasn't done with that topic.
I want to see what resonates.
Harmonica resonated.
All of these.
Harmonica resonated.
Yeah, but so did rationalization of time. But we
that
can
one
do
didn't.
a whole segment.
You did rationalization of time, but I like harmonica. I don't have any else for it.
I got
What's
a harmonica. You don't have anything for that?
No. And the harp, or the mouth harp.
I'm going to call it a jaw harp. Jaw, the bottom part of your mouth.
Oh, is that what a jaw is?
Yeah. Well, because there's another term for it. It's very similar to jaw, except the A is an E.
Oh.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know the etymology. I just know I'm not fucking calling it that.
A fucking Jew harp? What the fuck? What the fuck? Dude, the past. Once again, the past. It just keeps giving. It constantly gives. What does that mean? Was that they're at the fucking bank counting interest playing that instrument?
I was like, what's it called? Isn't it like a mouth harp? And I looked it up, and it's like a Jew's harp, also known as a jaw harp or mouth harp. And I'm like,
I guess it's a jaw.
Nope, it's a jaw harp. I don't know why I didn't read that far into it, because I just immediately said, I'm not calling it that. And I may be better off not knowing.
How did...
I got a digital picture frame, which is very nice.
You really understand comedic, one weird, one not. It's you should join a troupe.
So I got that set up. I got it for Christmas. Finally got it set up a month later.
How does it work?
It's essentially I created an account with the company that owns it. They gave me a personal email address, and I can request people send photos to that email address, and then it's like a slideshow, and it cycles through the photos that I've received. So it's nice. I haven't really looked at any of them yet because I got it set up at work yesterday, and I've worked today. But, I get pictures of my nephew and my niece and, my sister. And
I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that companies probably, using the images to figure out who lives with who, what's the demographics, how to market.
No, that's my initial thing, is I was like, great, this company is going to get, all of this data from who knows me and, what's in the pictures.
If we didn't live in America, a lot of these things would be cool. Like, the idea of, an Alexa or some shit like that could be interesting. Play something, do this or that with the lights. I mean, that's interesting to me, except for the fact that they're absolutely listening to everything you're saying, recording it for marketing purposes, and if the NSA needs it, they also can get it.
Well, that's the thing, is you'll occasionally find people who are Star Trek fans who have programmed their Alexa or their Google Home to respond to computer. So they're at home and they say, computer, what is the temperature? And the Alexa will go, the temperature is 72 degrees Fahrenheit.
And you go, sweet.
I'm on the Enterprise. Yeah, but here's the thing: it is not the Enterprise computer. It is a malevolent entity.
No, it's not. It's not anything good. So it's a lot of that shit is, it's neat, and the idea of it could be, except for it's just being completely consumed by the government and corporations against your will. Blah blah blah. Next topic.
Pencils.
What the fuck? How? What is your thought process?
Look at the size of this pencil. For anyone wondering,
what the fuck?
It has no.
What the fuck? That's not a topic.
It has no eraser, and it is under 2 inches long.
Kirk is just smiling holding up a pencil. Kirk's just smiling at a pencil. Why was that not a topic? Hang on, let me write down a new topic with your tiny pencil. It's called Kirk's thought process. How does it work? I would want to spend like an hour in your head, but at the same time, no.
No, it's mostly emptiness.
It's
There's
just,
nothing
it's
there.
just it's like that SpongeBob. It's just there's just a drip of water, and you can hear the ripples for miles across the lake that is your mind. A fucking pencil. Oh, you're fucking killing me.
My favorite pencils that I have are two pencils from like the 90s. The erasers are like absolutely disgusting. You cannot use them. They will smear across the entire page.
That was my
but
big
the
fucking
lead
annoying.
is nice and soft, and it makes a nice dull like noise when you're writing.
That or when you scratch it across the page and you get that pink shit, and it's like it doesn't erase anything. It just smudged it up, and like that's the worst. That's why you get a Dixon Ticonderoga, the Cadillac of pencils.
Yep.
Two Roommates with the Podcast is brought to you by the Dixon Ticonderoga pencil. When you need a pencil, reach for a dick. You're fucking hiccup. You need a second.
So so there are three kinds of pencils that I am absolutely okay with. The first one, Dixon Ticonderoga, the the Cadillac of pencils, aforementioned.
The pencil thing broke you.
And if you can get the black Ticonderoga, so much better. In that sandalwood scent, like a new pencil.
Oh yeah,
new pencil scent.
I was always a mechanical pencil person because I wrote in school.
We might need to break for a little. We'll be back after this brief message. So at work,
some time has passed.
So at work, when I worked at a grocery store, I got in the habit of I always needed pens to write things down, especially when I worked customer service.
Kirk's total nerd.
So what I had was a Pilot G2 7mm, one of those kind of like clicky pens, and I usually chose blue just because it's a nice color, right? And I liked using that to like write notes and stuff. That was my pen. And I started loaning those out to people when people asked for, like, can I borrow a pen to sign a check or to fill out this letter? And I noticed that every now and again, it would disappear because people would take it. So then what I started buying are the disposable Bic pens. And I would have, like, 3 or 4 of those. For 2 reasons. One, I would count cash registers, and you can write on plastic bags with these, and it won't smudge as much as, say, one of these.
Because of the gel.
Yep.
Tips and tricks.
And the other thing is, I would have 3 or 4, and someone would be like, hey, can I borrow a pen? And I'd look down, and I'd pull out a Bic, and I'd hand it to them. They would use it and disappear, and I'd go, they didn't leave the pen behind. But I was only out 20 cents as opposed to $2.
That's my trick for keeping my pens, because all my bullies at school would steal my supplies. But so instead, I put away my nice ones.
So what I have here is a collection of 3 pencils that I went and received.
This is an
during the
actual
break.
topic.
Yes, because there are only 3 good pencils.
Once again, this is an audio podcast. So.
It's fine. There are only 3 good pencils, and I'll have you test them out. One, the Dixon Ticonderoga Black.
The Cadillac
of pencils.
Cadillac. I mean, we already know the answer. We don't even have to test it out. Cadillac.
And the great
don't know
thing
how to spell.
is too.
That is not how you spell Cadillac.
I think that is.
Really?
Cadillac. I think that's how you spell Cadillac.
Oh, good. I'm a loyal consumer.
Right? And then, like, if you go to erase, it erases fairly well.
That's true. The erase
the eraser does not die on that pencil.
Yeah. So I was saying I'm a more mechanical pencil person because I write too fucking hard and I shatter everything. So I need a lot.
That's fine. So this is one of, like, the older pencils. This is also a Dixon, but it's called a Dixon Laddie. It's a school supply pencil, and I think it's, like, 10 to 15 years old.
A lad's dick?
But old pencils are good, because when you write, the lead is just different. You get, like, a nice dull...
Oh.
Yep.
Here, okay.
The only bad
that
thing
coming
is
through?
the erasers
I wonder if that
die.
comes through. Oh, the eraser's fucking horrible.
Yeah, the erasers die. So this is something where you would need one of those little pink
ever seen
erasers
that?
and absolutely make sure no one rips it in half because you will kill them if they do that.
Remember the video where a person does a math equation, but it sounds like the Cantina song?
Yeah.
That's good.
Or Darth Vader's march. And the third
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
pencil is the pencil that you have managed to retain for years. And it gets down to 2.5 inches long. And you keep using it solely because you can't bear to throw it away until it's like a complete nub.
It's approaching that. It reminds me too. Probably my life. You wrote down milk toast and crossed it off.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about having you spell it.
I actually think I knew how to spell that before. I knew it had a Q. Oh yeah, see it's sharp. Oh yeah, so probably my life's proudest achievement is I've had the same bottle of chapstick that I use occasionally, but I haven't lost it yet. I've kept it for like a couple of years now, and I haven't like somehow managed to throw it out. I always lost it. We're gonna see if this comes through.
Yeah, yeah.
That's nice. I don't think that came through, but that's nice.
So yeah, the three most inconsequential achievements I've been proud of in my life is one time in high school, I actually wore a pencil down until this like freshly shaved bit was roughly even with the metal.
So you were that kid in school where they have the tiny little pencil. You were that kid. Good. I'm roommates with that person.
One time, actually a couple times working at my grocery store job, I've used up Bic pens fully. Like I've used all of the ink in them.
I fucking lose pens.
I've done that with like 2 or 3.
I have never used a pen once in my life. I have always lost it.
And third, I have a pink eraser that I started using in high school.
I think
and I still have it and use it. Like one of those, ones that you keep in like a pencil bag. And one time in high school, someone almost ripped it in half. And yeah, I think I threatened to physically harm them if they did because I had been using it for like 1.5 years and it was already getting fairly worn down.
I think my favorite mechanical pencil was a Bic Atlantis, but I was looking for them again and I couldn't find it. Rest in peace, Bic Atlantis. It was lost, just like its namesake.
Isn't that the one with like the fountain pen tip?
No, it was a mechanical pencil.
Oh.
School. It was fine. Like school shopping was always kind of fun. I enjoyed that. Going to school sucked ass, but shopping's for school. Any sort of shopping.
Yeah, like going to school was bad, but looking back on it, I would honestly much rather be in high school or college than dealing with my call center gig.
I suppose. Yeah, we need to get you a different job.
Yeah, I think on Friday I'm gonna try giving myself like a work schedule to get the computer set up and just work on that because I've got a couple different postings that are interesting and I think they're open until Monday. So
yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah, the other 2 things on here I don't actually want to talk about today.
We're approaching time.
Yeah, like
that's a good one.
Yeah, heart attacks at work and the tickets that will never die. I think I'll do the tickets that will never die after I leave this job.
Yeah,
because I will have all of the pent up frustration ready to go.
I don't want to name specifics while you still work at the.
Oh, it wouldn't be specifics. It would be like a general case, but it would still be a rant about.
But backing it up for a second, heart attack at work. You or a person calling you?
No, okay, so I don't mean like an actual heart attack.
I thought you were just one day somebody was just going to start yelling at you about insert product.
Oh, that will
and you
happen.
were just going to sit in your chair and then suddenly like your room is just going to start smelling and I'm going to knock and I'm not going to hear anything and I don't want to open it because I don't want to know that you're dead. It'll be too much. So I'll just be in the kitchen cooking dinner crying and I'll yell out, "Kirk, dinner's ready. You haven't eaten in a few days, but it's ready for you."
No, this is
I just made myself sad.
One of the memories that occasionally comes back to haunt me is in high school I was talking with someone about like how we thought we would go, and he's like, yeah, I always assumed I'd be like 65 and die in a car accident. And I'm like, I think I'll get to like 40 and then just like my heart will give out on me because of all of the stress that I carry, and it will be at like the most comically insufficient time. Like I will get home from work and be in the process of beginning to relax from the day, and that's when it will hit me. And then I found out later that his dad died at about age 40 of a heart attack.
Wow,
when he was young, and I was like,
oh my God,
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
And then you said, oh my God, that's how I'm going to die. I just predicted it. Well, that means I still got some time with you left. Mm-hmm. You are 38 years old, so we're approaching.
Yeah. It's always a good sign when they have to check your blood pressure 3 times.
And I love it when they check your blood pressure and they go, we'll just come back.
They checked it the first time, and the nurse was like, okay, like 138 over 84. And then I got sent to the room, and then she comes back. And then she comes back maybe like 20, 30 minutes later after the first, and she goes, I'm sorry, we just need to take it again. And already I'm like, that's odd, but maybe they didn't like record it. You know, I can see that happening. I was getting a lot of stuff done, so maybe she just forgot to record it. So she took it down, and she's like, okay, that's like 139 over 83.
God damn.
And then
you need blood pressure medicine.
And then some time went by, and then she came back in, and she goes, hey, really sorry, we need to do your blood pressure again. And I even remarked, it's not a good sign when they have to check your blood pressure 3 times.
You need to go to the doctor and get some blood pressure medication. That is not going to be solved by eating the proper amount of pickle juice. Despite your best wishes.
Honestly, at this point, it's mostly going to be eating fruits and vegetables and exercise.
140, that's... Kirk, you seem pretty healthy already. That kind of just seems like a thing you have. It's just high blood pressure. 140 is... I'm pretty sure that's in the critical area, because it's supposed to be 120. I don't think a banana is going to lower your blood pressure 20 points.
But the diastolic is nice and low. It's just a couple above.
I know, because you're just going to shoot through. The under's fine, but just eventually it's just going to start leaking out of your ears.
So essentially, when my heart is, like not pumping, and there's that moment of pause, is when my blood pressure returns to about normal.
And then what happens is
then my heart goes, and it just...
Hey, that's just like you. It's constant, it's like constant strain, and then like a pullback of, okay. And then an explosion.
Yeah, I actually think a healthier job would do wonders for helping lower my blood pressure, because it's going to be a lot less... tension everywhere.
I suppose that would be reasonable. Well, as long as Kirk doesn't die by next episode, this has been... Oh my God. If I could Kirk got the hiccups again. They're falling apart. Please subscribe to the Patreon so Kirk doesn't have to work where they work anymore. No, this has been Two Roommates with a Podcast.
New Patreon tier. If you provide enough money for me to quit my job, which is going to be like $600 a week, I will send you lewds.
I think you have access to those.
No. I will make my own lewds and send them. And the great thing is... the upcoming next couple of months will be nice and fun, because I started my my HRT early January. So consider that. Please.
Oh my God. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.